Have you ever walked into a room and felt like your presence didn't matter, like you were invisible, uncelebrated, or just tolerated? That quiet ache of showing up, giving your all, only to feel unseen, it's a pain so many carry, especially later in life. In this video, we're diving deep into why you deserve to be respected, valued, and cherished, and how to reclaim your peace when those you love stop truly seeing you. Stay until the end, because you'll discover a powerful truth. Choosing yourself isn't just about letting go, it's about finding the life and love you've been waiting for, and it starts with you. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Allow me to share a poignant story, one that echoes through countless conversations I've had. A woman in her late 70s confided in me about her weekly ritual of visiting her daughter's home every Sunday, a tradition woven into the fabric of her life for decades. She arrives with a homemade dessert, her hands busy with love, helping to clear the dishes after dinner, and delighting in moments spent playing with her grandchildren. Yet, in recent months, something has shifted. The warmth she once felt has faded. Her daughter, overwhelmed by the demands of her own life, barely pauses to talk. Her son-in-law, distracted, rarely lifts his gaze from his phone or the tasks at hand. The grandchildren, caught up in their worlds of games and screens, rush past her with fleeting smiles. She sits quietly in the corner of the living room, her polite smile masking a growing ache, feeling like a shadow in a house that once felt like an extension of her heart. When she returns home, the silence of her own space becomes a mirror for her pain, and she weeps, not because anyone was overtly cruel, but because their indifference stings far worse. She wonders, is it me? Am I asking for too much to want to feel noticed, valued, and included? No, dear soul, you are not asking for too much. You are yearning for the most fundamental human needs: to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. These are not extravagant demands. They are the cornerstones of love. When these elements are absent, what remains is not love but a hollow routine, a habit sustained by obligation or guilt. Continuing to show up in such a space, week after week, takes a toll on your spirit. It whispers insidious lies, that your feelings are insignificant, that being sidelined is an inevitable part of growing older, that this diminished role is all you can expect from life now. But let me offer you a different truth, one that burns bright with clarity and hope. You have every right to protect your peace, even from those closest to you. Your children, your siblings, your lifelong friends. Respect is not an automatic entitlement granted by familial ties or shared history. It is earned through consistent, intentional behavior. Far too often, we mistake patience for silence, swallowing our hurt to avoid being perceived as a burden. We minimize our sadness, convincing ourselves it's not worth the discomfort of addressing it. But let me ask you this. How long can you carry that unspoken ache before it festers into bitterness? How many times will you excuse their emotional distance before you begin to question your worth? This isn't about severing ties or building walls. It's about choosing yourself, about refusing to shrink your presence to fit within the confines of someone else's limited affection. You were not created to be merely tolerated. You were made to be cherished, to be loved with intention and care. Let's pause to consider what respect truly looks like in practice. It's not about extravagant gestures, lavish gifts, or eloquent declarations. It's found in the small, deliberate acts of connection, a moment of eye contact that says, "I see you," a phone call or text that conveys, "I'm thinking of you," a visit that feels like a joyful choice rather than a begrudging obligation. It's the sound of a voice that softens with warmth when it hears yours on the other end of the line. If these acts of care have vanished, not just once, but consistently over time, it's not only permissible but necessary to step back. This isn't about punishing others. It's about preserving your own heart, giving yourself the space to heal. Stepping back doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you love yourself enough to stop chasing fleeting crumbs of attention, to stop settling for relationships that leave you feeling depleted. You are allowed to choose peace over pain. You are allowed to say, "I cherish the memories of who we once were, but I cannot keep hurting myself to maintain a connection that no longer nourishes me." Some may counter with, "What if they come around eventually? What if they're just busy? What if I give it a little more time?" These are valid questions, and people can indeed change. Life's demands can temporarily cloud their priorities. But here's a question to hold close. What is the cost of waiting indefinitely? How many months, years, or even decades will you sacrifice, hoping they'll suddenly recognize your worth? And in that waiting, how much of your vitality, your joy, do you lose? Your 60s, 70s, or 80s are not chapters you can rewrite. This is your one precious life, your one opportunity to fill your days with meaning, connection, and purpose. If someone repeatedly shows you that you are not a priority, it's time to stop making them yours. You are not a secondary character in someone else's narrative, relegated to the margins of their story. You are the author of your own life, with the power to decide where to invest your energy, your time, your heart. Sometimes, the bravest and kindest act is to lovingly step back and declare, I will no longer pour myself into spaces where I am not truly seen. Consider this metaphor. If you plant a flower in barren soil that offers no nutrients, no matter how much you water it, it will struggle to thrive. The flower's failure to bloom isn't a reflection of its worth. It's a sign that the environment cannot sustain its growth. Instead of blaming yourself for not flourishing, perhaps it's time to replant yourself in a place rich with warmth, light, and care. Whether that's within new relationships, personal passions, or moments of quiet self-discovery. This shift might mean fewer visits to those who overlook you, fewer phone calls that go unanswered, and more time spent cultivating what brings you joy. Reading a book that captivates your mind, taking walks that reconnect you with the beauty of the world, learning a new skill that sparks curiosity, or seeking out people who lift your spirit rather than drain it. At first, this change may feel unfamiliar, even lonely. But over time, the space you create by releasing what hurts you becomes fertile ground for something better. Relationships that honor you, experiences that fill you with purpose, and a renewed sense of self-worth. You are not here to beg for attention or to earn love through silent suffering. You are here to be respected, cherished, and free. The moment you stop giving your energy to those who take it for granted is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. You may wonder, if I step back, what will happen? Will they notice my absence? Will they care? Or will I end up feeling even more alone? These are weighty questions, and the answers may not always be what you hope for. Sometimes, they won't notice. Sometimes, they'll carry on as if your absence is inconsequential, and that realization can cut deeper than any spoken rejection. But that pain, as raw as it is, carries a gift, truth. When someone doesn't reach out, when your absence feels lighter to them than your presence, you haven't lost a relationship, you've lost an illusion. That clarity, though heartbreaking, is also liberating. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of chasing what was never truly there. If you're still watching and enjoying these insights, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. Not subscribed yet? Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for the support. Now, let's move forward. You don't have to remain in spaces where you're merely tolerated. You don't have to keep running after people who've stopped meeting you halfway. Love that flows only in one direction eventually runs dry, and the longer you pour from your cup without being replenished, the more hollow you become. This isn't about becoming hardened or resentful. It's about becoming wise, discerning when to hold on and when to let go, understanding that walking away doesn't signify failure but growth. Have you ever observed a child with a once beloved toy? In the beginning, they carried it everywhere, inseparable from it. But as time passes, the toy is tossed aside, not because it's broken or worthless, but because the child has grown accustomed to its presence, taking it for granted. Relationships can follow a similar pattern. Some people expect you to always be there, to always say yes, to always forgive their oversight, until your steadfast presence becomes invisible. But what happens when that toy is no longer in its usual place? What happens when they reach for it and find it gone? That's when they pause. That's when they reflect. That's when they realize its value. This isn't about manipulation or testing loyalty. It's about allowing others to feel the weight of your absence, because those who truly value you will notice when you're no longer there. They'll feel the quiet where your laughter once rang, the emptiness where your warmth used to be. And if they don't notice, that silence speaks louder than words ever could. There's a profound dignity that emerges when you stop knocking on doors that remain firmly closed, when you stop settling for the bare minimum from those who have so much more to offer but choose not to give it. In that space, You begin to rediscover who you are beyond the roles you've played, beyond the giver, the supporter, the one who always understands. And in that rediscovery, something transformative unfolds. You start asking new questions. What do I want for myself in this chapter of my life? What activities, people, or pursuits make me feel truly alive? Who do I want by my side, not out of obligation, but because they bring me joy? It's never too late to craft a life that reflects your worth, a life where your presence is celebrated, not assumed. It's never too late to invest your time in relationships and experiences that leave you feeling whole, to surround yourself with people who don't require you to prove your value because they already see it. You've spent years nurturing others, building bonds, and showing up with love. Now, it's time to show that same love to yourself. By stepping back from what diminishes you, you create room for what uplifts you. You remind yourself, and the world, that you are not here to fade into the background. You are here to shine, to live fully, to be respected and loved for exactly who you are. And that journey begins the moment you choose to honor your own heart. There's a quote that has stayed with me, like a whisper in moments of exhaustion. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Yet, how many of us have done just that? We've stood in the flames of our self-sacrifice, watching our energy, our patience, our very sense of self burn away, all to sustain relationships that offer little in return. We've poured our time, our health, our hearts into people and places that rarely replenish us, convincing ourselves that this is what love demands looks like. But love, true, reciprocal love, doesn't demand your depletion. It doesn't leave you feeling smaller, hollowed out, or like a shadow of who you could be. Real love is a garden. It nourishes, it grows, it blooms in both directions. It lifts you, fills your spirit, and meets you halfway. So, if you find yourself always being the one to call first, to mend what's broken, to bend until you're nearly broken yourself, pause. Take a breath. And ask, what would happen if I stopped? What would happen if you stopped texting first, stopped driving across town to visit someone who makes you feel unwelcome, stopped reshaping your life to fit into their schedule, their convenience, their world? Would they notice your absence? Would they pick up the phone, send a message, or show up at your door? Or would they simply carry on, untouched by the void you once filled? The answer, whatever it may be, is a gift. It's a mirror held up to the truth of that relationship, even if that truth stings. Because when you stop chasing what ignores you, you create space, precious, sacred space, for what truly sees you, honors you, and values your presence. At this stage of life, some of the most meaningful connections may come from unexpected corners of your world. They might blossom from a neighbor who waves from their porch and asks how you're doing, a stranger you meet in a pottery class or book club who shares your sense of humor, or a community, perhaps a local gardening group or a church choir, that embraces you for who you are now, not just who you were decades ago. These are the relationships that can surprise you with their warmth, their ease, and their authenticity. But to welcome these new blessings, you need room in your heart and mind. You need emotional bandwidth, mental clarity, and the courage to step back from connections that no longer heal or sustain you, even if they once meant everything. Let me be clear. Stepping back doesn't always mean severing ties. For some relationships, a little distance can restore balance, like loosening a too tight knot. Space can bring perspective, not just for you but for the other person too. It's an invitation for them to reflect, to recognize what your presence has meant. Sometimes, that pause can rekindle a connection, allowing it to grow healthier and more mutual. But even if nothing changes on their end, something profound shifts within you. You stop waiting for their validation to feel worthy. You stop tying your value to their attention. You begin to choose yourself, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that choice, that act of reclaiming your dignity, ripples through every corner of your life. You are not selfish for craving respect. You are not cold for needing reciprocity. You are not dramatic for walking away from what diminishes you. You are human, with a heart that deserves to be cherished, not just tolerated. So, as you sit with these thoughts, I invite you to be radically honest with yourself, not with guilt or fear, but with the kind of compassion you'd offer a dear friend. What would it feel like to stop begging for love that's gone silent? To stop pausing your life for people who won't press play for you? Imagine the peace of relationships that don't come with a constant undercurrent of tension. Picture conversations where your voice is heard, not interrupted or ignored. Envision walking into a room and feeling wanted, not just needed, because there's a world of difference between the two. Being needed can drain you, tethering your worth to what you provide. Being wanted lifts you, celebrating your presence for who you are, not just what you do. If you're still watching and enjoying these insights, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're here. Not subscribed yet? Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for the support. Now, let's move forward. You have a right to that kind of joy, to laughter that feels light, to connections that feel like a warm embrace. And the beautiful, empowering truth is that you get to choose. You get to decide who walks beside you in this next chapter of your life. You are not chained to the past, nor are you obligated to keep playing a role that no longer fits, whether that's the ever-giving parent, the always available friend, or the peacemaker who swallows their own needs to keep everyone else comfortable. You are free. And at this stage, freedom is one of the greatest gifts you can claim for yourself. If you're reading this and feel a quiet ache, not just for what's missing in others but for what's been lost in you, listen to that feeling. It's not a sign of failure. It's your soul whispering for something deeper, something truer, something kinder. The first step toward that something is often letting go of what no longer loves you well. There's a quiet power in realizing you don't need anyone's permission to live with dignity, to reclaim your time, your energy, your heart. For so long, you may have put others first. Your children, your partner, your parents, your friends. You waited patiently for them to notice your sacrifices. You adjusted your dreams to fit their needs. You stayed silent, believing that if you just gave a little more, loved a little harder, things would fall into place. But slowly, something inside you began to feel forgotten. Not just by them, but by you. That's where transformation begins. In the moment you say, no more. Not out of anger or bitterness, not to punish anyone, but because you're done trying to earn what should have been given freely. You're done bending until your spirit aches just to keep the peace. You're done mistaking self-sacrifice for love, because true love doesn't ask you to disappear. It doesn't demand that you shrink yourself to fit into someone else's world. And yes, this shift may unsettle some people in your life. They might notice your absence and call you changed, distant, or even selfish. They might wonder why you no longer call every week, visit every holiday, or wait patiently for their attention. Let them wonder. Let them sit with your silence, because it's in that space, where your voice is no longer filling the gap, that the truth speaks loudest. People often don't realize the weight of what they had until it's gone. Your laughter, your listening ear, your unwavering support, these are not small things. But when you're always there, always giving, always available, it's easy for others to take you for granted, like a steady river they assume will never run dry. It's only when you step back, when the flow of your presence slows, that they're forced to confront the question, where did they go? And here's the secret no one tells you. That absence you create isn't just for them, it's for you. It's a declaration that your peace matters more than pleasing those who don't truly see you. It's a vow to prioritize your well-being over outdated expectations. And the more you honor that vow, the lighter you feel, as if you've shed a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Waking up without checking your phone for a message that never arrives. Moving through your day without the gnawing question of whether someone will finally remember your birthday, return your call, or invite you to dinner. Releasing the burden of waiting, of hoping, of wondering. Can you feel the freedom in that? Because your value doesn't depend on being needed. Your worth isn't measured by how much you give, but by how much of yourself you keep. How much joy, how much peace, how much of your spirit you nurture. And if someone's affection for you fades the moment you stop doing for them, that was never love. That was convenience dressed up as care, and you deserve so much more. There is strength in choosing solitude over disrespect. Silence is serene when it means you've stopped begging to be heard. There is courage in saying, I deserve better than this. That might look like taking a walk without texting someone who never checks in with you. It might mean saying no to a family gathering that leaves you drained and yes to an afternoon of solitude, filled with the soft hum of your favorite music, the rustle of leaves outside, or the simple pleasure of your thoughts. In these small, deliberate acts, you send a message to the universe. My time is sacred. My heart is precious. I matter. We often fear that if we step back, we'll be forgotten, erased from the lives of those we've poured so much into. But here's a truth that can set you free. If your absence makes no difference to someone, your presence never truly mattered to them. That's not a loss. It's a revelation. It's permission to redirect your energy toward what brings you alive, whether it's a passion you've shelved for years, a new friendship that feels effortless, or simply reclaiming your mornings for quiet coffee and sunlight instead of worry and waiting. You are allowed to build a life that makes your soul sing. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's the act of keeping your spirit vibrant, your heart open, your life full. It's also a gift to those around you, including your children, your partner, your friends, because it shows them what it looks like to live with boundaries, with grace, with self-respect. People learn how to treat you based on what you allow. If you tolerate silence, they'll give it. If you accept disrespect, they'll repeat it. But if you draw a line, calmly, firmly, and say, "This is where I stop giving without receiving," some will rise to meet you. They'll see your worth and step closer. And those who don't, they were never walking beside you in the first place. They were merely standing in the shade of your light. So, as you move forward, carry this truth. You are not bound by the roles you've played or the expectations others have placed on you. You are free to redefine what love looks like, to seek out relationships that feel like home, and to let go of what no longer serves your heart. The journey may feel daunting, but it's also deeply empowering. Because in choosing yourself, you're not just reclaiming your time or your energy, you're reclaiming you. And there is nothing more beautiful than that. You don't need dramatic farewells or explosive confrontations to reclaim your life. You don't need to announce your departure with fanfare or justify your choices with lengthy explanations. What you need is far simpler, yet profoundly powerful. A quiet, resolute decision, a moment of clarity where you declare, with unwavering conviction, that your peace is no longer negotiable. This decision doesn't require an audience or approval. It's a private vow you make to yourself, rooted in the deep understanding that you deserve to live in alignment with your values, free from the weight of others' expectations or neglect. If you find yourself sitting in solitude, don't rush to label it as loneliness or failure. Instead, see it as a sacred opportunity, a chance to finally hear the whisper of your thoughts, to rediscover the rhythm of your own heart, to reconnect with the person you've always been beneath the layers of obligation and sacrifice. That person is still there, wise, compassionate, resilient, and whole, waiting for you to turn inward and listen. You've spent so much of your life nurturing others, pouring your energy into their dreams, their crises, their needs. Now, it's time to extend that same care, that same devotion, to yourself. Let the phone sit silent, its screen dark and still. Let the door remain closed, a gentle boundary between you and the chaos of the world. Let those who never truly valued your presence wonder where you've gone, because where you are now, right here in this moment with yourself, is where your healing begins. This is where you start to rebuild, where you rediscover the spark of life that's been dimmed by years of giving without receiving. There's a quiet beauty in reaching a point in your life where you no longer feel compelled to explain yourself. You don't owe anyone a monologue about why you've stepped back, why you've chosen distance, why you've stopped reaching out. Your peace speaks for itself. The lightness in your step, the calm in your heart, the joy that begins to bloom in small, everyday moments. These are your testimony, more eloquent than any words could ever be. For decades, you've been the steady anchor for others. You've been the one they turn to in moments of need, the one who stayed up late listening, who gave time, money, and energy, who set aside your dreams to help others chase theirs. And if you're honest with yourself, there was always a part of you that hoped they'd notice, that they'd remember your sacrifices, that one day they'd pause and say, "I see what you did for me. I understand now. Thank you." But sometimes, that moment never arrives. Sometimes, the people you poured your heart into move on, grow distant, or simply forget to look back. And you're left in the quiet, standing in an empty house, wondering if all your love, all your effort, was worth it. If you're still watching and enjoying these insights, drop a 3 in the comments to let me know you're here. Not subscribed yet? Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for the support. Now, let's move forward. Let me remind you of a truth you may have lost sight of. It was worth it. Every moment you showed up, every act of kindness, every sacrifice you made, it mattered. Your love left an imprint, even if it went unacknowledged. Your presence shaped lives, even if no one ever said it out loud. Your patience, your generosity, your unwavering commitment to those you cared about. They were never wasted. But now, it's time to shift that devotion inward. It's your turn to matter, not to others, but to yourself. It's your turn to build a life that doesn't hinge on who might call, who might visit, or who might finally see your worth. Instead, it's a life crafted around what brings you joy, what fills you with peace, and what makes you proud to be you. You are not here to be an afterthought, remembered only when it's convenient. You are here to be honored, respected, and cherished while you're still present. And that respect begins with you. It starts the moment you look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I don't have to chase love, beg for attention, or prove my worth to anyone who refuses to see it. You may feel like you've lost time, like too many years were spent giving, waiting, hoping, and hurting. But hear this, it's never too late to come home to yourself. Not to a physical place, but to the essence of who you are. The self that still laughs with abandon, that finds wonder in the way sunlight spills through a window, that hasn't been lost, only buried beneath the weight of others' needs. As you begin to reclaim that self, something extraordinary happens. The more you embrace your own company, the more your energy shifts. The more you stop pleading for space and start claiming it, the more the world around you begins to change. The right people, those who meet you with kindness, effort, and genuine care, start to appear, not because you demanded their presence, but because they're drawn to the light you've rediscovered within yourself. They show up not out of guilt or obligation, but because they want to be part of your world. And if they don't come, that's okay too, because you've remembered the one constant in your life. You. You, the one who carried on through heartache, through loneliness, through moments of doubt and disappointment. You, the one who's still here, still standing, still daring to hope, not for others to change, but for yourself to rise. This isn't the end of your story. It's the chapter where you take the pen and start writing. It's the moment you realize that every day ahead can be filled with purpose, not because of who shows up, but because of how you choose to show up for yourself. Maybe you'll rediscover old passions, like tending a garden or painting again. Maybe you'll sign up for a class at the community center, learning something new just for the joy of it. Maybe you'll take long walks, leaving your phone behind, letting the world unfold around you without the weight of expectation. And day by day, you'll find that solitude is not something to fear, it's a gift. It's a space where you meet yourself again, where you rediscover someone strong, compassionate, and brimming with life. There's a saying attributed to Seneca, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." Your life, this chapter of it, can be good, not because of who remembers you, but because you've remembered your worth. If today feels heavy, if sadness or uncertainty lingers, let it be. Let those feelings pass through you like a gentle breeze, without judgment. Then take a deep breath, smile softly, and stand up. Remind yourself, you are no longer waiting, you are living. No more chasing after invitations that never arrive, no more wondering why your messages go unanswered, no more twisting your life to fit the shape of someone else's attention. You are not a guest in other people's stories. You are the architect of your own. Some may never understand why you've chosen to step back. Let them wonder. Your peace is not a topic for debate. You don't need to justify your boundaries or defend your choices. You need to be honored first by yourself, and then by those you allow into your life. If they can't offer that honor, you walk away, not with bitterness, but with love. Love for the person you're becoming, love for the life you're building, love for the peace you're protecting. It's time to stop pouring your energy into empty spaces, to stop rehearsing conversations in your mind, to stop offering your heart to those who no longer reach for it. Your life is no longer a waiting room. It's a home, and you get to decide who crosses its threshold. So stand firm, feel the ground beneath your feet, and know this: you are still here, and you still matter. The years ahead can be your most liberated, your most peaceful, your most meaningful yet. Not because you're seeking approval, but because you're walking your path with confidence and grace. If these words resonate with you, if something inside is whispering, "This is my story, this is my truth," then take a moment to do something small but powerful. Write in the comments, "My time matters." Share where you're watching from. Let it be a declaration to yourself and a beacon to others that your life, your presence, your worth are not defined by anyone else's actions. You are enough, and your story is far from over. It's just beginning to shine. Wow, What a journey we've been on together in this video. I hope these words have resonated with you, stirred something deep within, and reminded you of your worth. Now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned so far? What's one lesson from this message that you're ready to bring into your life, to practice with courage and compassion? Please share it in the comments below. This is your moment to reflect and inspire others with your story. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that uplifts and empowers you to live your truth. Here's to choosing yourself and writing the next chapter of your life with peace and purpose. I'll see you in the comments.